Hi everybody, Honest John here. The investigation by the House Select Committee began last week. Now, originally it was supposed to be an independent commission, a bipartisan independent commission. But then the Republicans, because Donald Trump didn't want it, they sabotaged it. They prevented it from happening. So we now have this select committee. But before the investigation even began, there were a lot of things that we already knew. We already knew that the January 6th insurrection was planned and instigated by Donald Trump and some other members of the Republican Party. And we know that it was not a spontaneous event, that members of the Oath Keepers and other racist groups planned in advance to overthrow the United States government. They went to D.C. with murder in mind and violence in hand, and with the intention of killing members of Congress and Vice President Mike Pence. But now, because for some reason or another, Donald Trump is very popular with the Republican base. It doesn't matter that he's a lifetime criminal. It doesn't matter that he's a traitor. He's very popular with the Republican base. So what Republicans have been trying to do is to create a false equivalence to the Black Lives Matter protests. Here are the facts. Now, there was some rioting that occurred at the Black Lives Matter protests, but they were for the most part peaceful. And the people who did engage in violence were not part of the Black Lives Matter movement. Sometimes they were opportunists who came from outside those communities in order to wreak havoc. And sometimes they were members of racist groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, who were trying to sabotage the Black Lives Matter movement, using violence to do that. That would be blamed on them. At no point did Black Lives Matter advocate for or encourage violence. On the other hand, the insurrectionists went to Washington, D.C. with violence in mind, pre-planned. The Black Lives Matter protests never presented a threat to any government, federal, state, or local. The whole purpose of the January 6th insurrection was to overthrow the government and end democracy in America. And this insurrection isn't over. A lot of Republicans that had nothing to do with the January 6th insurrection are trying to keep that insurrection going. They're trying to end democracy in this country through voter suppression laws. These voter suppression laws are criminal acts, and they should be treated like it. Republicans, governors, and state legislators who are doing this should be arrested, put on trial, and sent to prison. Thanks for listening.